This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Here we go. Hour number one of USAPrepares.com. Your dial is set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here. Podcasts are free. Broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Studio A. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli. Aaron is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. Marjory Wildcraft is with us today. Welcome, Marjory.
Hi, Vince. How are you doing?
Marjory, I was just thinking, you and I chatted for a couple seconds, literally before the broadcast, and you were having breakfast. And now, did you grow as part of your breakfast that you had this morning?
Yes, I did. Actually, almost every morning is a breakfast. My typical breakfast, and this takes about 5 minutes to make, super easy, unbelievably nutritious. Mm-hmm. I always have some fresh greens growing. In the wintertime, it's kale or spinach or something like that. In the summertime, it's lamb's quarters or chickweed. And just grab a handful of that out of the garden, saute it a little bit with some butter, throw 2 eggs that I just grab out of the nest from the hens on top, sprinkle a little salt, cover it, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and that's it. It's so simple. Unbelievably, vitamin C in the greens, vitamin K. Eggs are loaded with a lot of the B vitamins, protein, healthy fats. Just a really good diet.
Well, and the cost is almost free, right?
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. We pretty much make all our own on-site fertilizer and fertility for all the gardens and orchards and food forests and experiments we have going on here. And the chicken eggs are mostly free. I do supplement them with a little bit of feed when it gets really tough in the winter, or here in Texas, when I'm down in Central Texas. August, man, you got to give them some feed. There's hardly anything out there. But really, it's, I'm pretty, I grow about half of what I eat, and I don't buy anything from the feed stores, and I don't have to get any fertilizers or anything like that. I do it all sustainably and very simply. The grid could go down tomorrow. It could go down right now. Our conversation would end, but I'd be fine. I'd be completely fine.
Marjorie, you mentioned the grid could go down, and I've been following a story, and I've been reporting this story. It's about a power generation campus, if you will, where coal is mined and transported across the same property to 2 power generation stations in Illinois, actually Washington County, Illinois. We broke
you
the
guys
story.
broke that story, didn't you?
Yeah. We broke the story. And over Memorial Day weekend, there was an explosion, a pressure explosion. And this campus has 2 generation stations. One of them was taken offline. And this power generation station provides electricity to 2.5 million families. So half of their power generation was taken offline with this explosion. When this happens, the government gets involved, investigations happen, OSHA gets involved, what safety measures need to be implemented to prevent these things from happening in the future and so forth. And then there has to be the engineering for the repairs and repairing the side of the building and the roof of the building that was partially blown off. Well,
are any
it's a
of
big
those
deal.
2.5 million people out of power right now, or are they able to cover it with the other?
Not necessarily. But here's what happens. If we didn't have a complex grid to interconnect power generation stations across North America, local consumers would be without power.
Right,
but because we have
of
the grid,
some of the other stations are pumping in.
Right, that's exactly right. But here's the problem. There is nothing that man has built to date that is more complex than the power grid. And with complexity grows more potential for problems. And last night I was on Aaron Dakin's show, and the analogy that I used was like back in the 60s, you could buy a car with crank-up windows, and that was common. I mean, that was the standard, right? And then electric or power windows came into vogue. But some people would say, I don't want them. It's just one more thing to break.
That's my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to say that all the time. She says, that's just one more thing to break. She said, I'd rather have it simple.
Right. Well, the power grid is so complex that there was a virus or malware, if you will, that was traveling across the internet, and it actually prevented the quick recovery of a power outage on the East Coast a few years ago. So as we get more and more complex, we have a greater potential for failure. And with that failure, we could lose our power to our homes and our businesses and to the stores who sell us things. And those stores have no clue as to the prices that are charged at the cash register. They don't know because prices are generally not attached to the goods that we buy as they go across that scanning station, right? So without power, even if a store did have some items for sale, they wouldn't know the price. And if they did know the price, they wouldn't be able to charge those with credit cards or debit cards for them because the power would be out. So what I'm saying is we had just a simple, what's called a steam explosion in Illinois. It took the power out, and if there were no backup, those people in that service area would be without power, couldn't buy food, couldn't buy anything, including gasoline. So we are precariously perched. And that's why I think it's so important to share your message about growing your own groceries. And your website, growyourowngroceries.com, growyourowngroceries.com. You've got a DVD set, and I have a copy, and I've shared it with family and friends. And it's your story. It's your story about how you bought this farm and how you have water and how you grow your own food. And you take us on a tour of your farm. And it's delightful. It actually shows people how they can forget the current city life. They can forget the suburban life and buy a farm and actually do what you do. So for over an hour, they can view with their family what it's like where you live, what it's like where I live. And I don't think there is a better lifestyle. Do you, Marjorie?
I honestly don't, Vince. I got into this because I was deeply concerned, and I still am. I believe economic collapse is a matter of when, not if. Mm-hmm. And so I got into growing food. There's two reasons people start growing food. One is because they're scared about some sort of collapse scenario, and the other is because of a health issue. And I got into it because basically for both, but you're coming into something. A lot of times, that's what it takes to motivate you is to be really good. The wake up call, right? The crash with the semi truck, the heart attack, right? The cancer, the test results that come in. That's usually what people need to make a major life change. But I tell you what, I'm just out this morning planting some trees and working in the garden. I would not trade this for anything. Mm-hmm. I would not trade this for anything. My sister-in-law is a VP with a big multinational, and I look at her, and she's pale because she's in the fluorescent lights all the time and traveling and flying back and forth internationally. And I used to do that. And I look at her, and I'm at family gatherings, and I go, that's who I would be if I had not left the whole multinational career up the ladder thing. And I am so grateful because I've got better health care benefits than anybody in a Fortune 500 company.
Marjorie, I have some relatives who are in the same position that you're talking about. flying every week. I mean, literally every week. I wouldn't be able to stand it. But, you know, if you look at their business cards, they read very, very well. I mean, they have these wonderful jobs and they're paid a lot of money, but they're not home. They are flying either all over the country or all over the world. Their home is a hotel room, you know, for most of their awake life. They don't get a chance to see their families as much. And the funny thing is, they refer to me as their rich brother-in-law. And I get a kick out of that because they probably make 30 times what I might make.
Yeah.
But when they talk about rich, I don't think they're talking about digits in the bank. I think they're talking about lifestyle, where I can get up and, except for this radio, which actually runs by the clock from 9 o'clock through 11 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Except for that, my life is my own, and I can go and talk to the animals and feed the animals and spend time with the animals and fix the fence and cut the hay. And I mean, it's not like I can avoid it. There's certain things I just have to do, but I can do it when I really want to, when I think it's appropriate. I don't mean that I'm lazy, because I'm not, but I do have some freedom as to what I do and when I do, because I live on a farm. And you have the same thing, don't you?
Well, yeah, but you know, you can do this in a backyard. And my research center now, what we're dedicated to doing is finding 5 different ways that you could grow half of your own food in a backyard-sized space in less than an hour a day. And that'd be an hour a day where you're outside, you're getting some gentle exercise, you're growing deeply nutritious food, you're feeding your body, you're also growing medicine, you're not needing to go to the supermarket as much, you're starting to get less and less dependent on drugstores and the medical system, and you start getting healthy, you're saving money because you're buying, and you're getting to eat food that is beyond organic. I mean, the organic standards, once the USDA got involved in those have deteriorated to almost nothing. So
Marjory Wildcraft's with us. GrowYourOwnGroceries.com. We'll be right back after these few short commercial announcements. I always have a lot of fun when Marjory Wildcraft is on the broadcast classroom with us, and we're talking about food. Marjory, a couple days ago, I mentioned that you were going to be with us, and that your feeling, if I'm saying this right, is people who are producers are better positioned to withstand the days and years ahead. You mentioned the collapse. I believe it is absolutely coming. There's no question in my mind that it's coming, and I'm doing everything that I can to provide.
Yeah, you know, if you're able to make something, and food is probably the most important thing to be able to make. I've visited economically collapsed countries, and I've interviewed people that have survived economic collapse, civil war, horrific, tsunami type events. Just political disruptions, and I've also been an avid student of the historical examples, for example, the Civil War here in the United States or Weimar Germany, and every single one of those cases, the most important thing to people is food and eating, and it's the thing we take most for granted. And in all those situations, there was a lot more locally grown food than there is today. You think about the South, back in the 1800s, right, or even Germany in the early 1900s. But people starved, and that's the day-to-day thing. Yeah, you're definitely going to need to be concerned about defense and heating and cooling and all the the other things that go on, medical. But 3 times a day, people are used to eating, and that actually becomes the overbearing concern of how am I going to feed my kids today? What am I going to eat? Where am I going to get something from? Those grocery stores only have 4 days worth of food supply in them. The food travels to you an average of 1,500 miles. So, what are you going to do if there's ever any kind of disruption?
You mentioned the Civil War or the War of Northern Aggression. And I used to live in Virginia in the South, and it reminds me that, there are still examples of the Civil War all over rural Virginia. And there was a piece on a documentary about the Civil War about hardtack, which was kind of like a really rock-hard biscuit that you could eat. And I remember hearing in this documentary that, when you put it in water or tea to soften it up, the bugs would come floating out to the top, and if you skim them off, it didn't leave much of a taste of the bugs if you skim them off. And what I'm saying, I'm trying to draw a picture. That's how bad it was, and people were willing to eat bug-infested flour bricks, if you will, that were called hardtack. And they were glad to do it.
Virginia was one of the hardest hit states, and I was reading an excerpt from a diary of a woman that lived in that area, and she said the only thing in the butcher shops are rats. They'd have dressed-out rats hanging where there would normally be chickens or beef or venison or something, and there was nothing available of that. There's only rats. And then toward the end, before the war ended, she said that wasn't even available. There was nothing.
And we mentioned the power grid, and seriously, you mentioned 4 days worth of food in the food stores or the supermarkets. My number is 3 days for most stores will run out of everything. And what happens, generally accepted, what happens in day number 1
with the flash mobs, right? Yeah.
Well, day number 1 is people will say, TV went out. I wonder what's going on. Day number 2, they're out walking around. And they're saying, geez, I better get some stuff because, the refrigerator's out and we better get some stuff, some food and supplies. And day number 3, windows are broken. They've already started breaking on day number 2. And within 14 days, it is absolutely unrecoverable Mad Max, to the point where if the power grid really went down in this country, we would not be able to recover. It would be the country would be broken, destroyed, the infrastructure would be destroyed, the buildings would be destroyed. The police, we think they're going to come and protect us. After probably a week, they're going home. Maybe day 7, 8, 9, they're going home to protect their own families. They're not going to be protecting us. And the same with the military. So when we come back from the other side of this break, let's talk about the serious side of what we need to do to grow our own food and protect our families. Marjory Wildcraft, I'm Vin Finelli. This is USAPrepares.com. Class, some of you know that I purchased the domain name Hang the Cops, Hang the IRS, Hang TSA, Hang the Lobbyists. Last night I did put up a post about a SWAT team who threw a stun grenade into a toddler's crib in Atlanta, Georgia. And this grenade blew up and put this toddler in a coma. It was a drug raid that had gone bad. It was a multi-jurisdictional task force that got involved with this. And the reason I have this domain, Hang the Cops, is because of exactly this. Bashing into the wrong house. People are dying. People are getting maimed and wounded for life because of this nonsense. And I believe that we need to publish the names of everyone involved. And I believe that if a judge issues a warrant to do these things, everyone, including the judge, needs to be tried, and if found guilty, put in jail or prison for these crimes. They're killing us. It's unacceptable. So if you want to read it, it's made it to the Drudge Report now, but we had it on our website. It's up there now. SWAT team throws stun grenade into toddler's crib during raid. Horror. It's on USAPrepares.com right now. If you want to see what it looks like when you get hit in the face with a stun grenade, there's a picture of this toddler on life support right now. It's absolutely outrageous. And it's because of things like this that I believe that you need to protect your family and yourselves in every way possible, including growing your own food. Now, Marjory Wildcraft is known as an international, she's known internationally as an expert in growing food. And some in our class today may say, geez, Marjory, you've got a farm. Finelli, you've got a farm. Yeah, you can do that. I can't do that because I live in a neighborhood or I live in the city. Let's help those who live in the suburbs or live in the city grow their own groceries right now in buckets or whatever they need to do. Marjorie, please share your thoughts with us.
Vince, you can grow half of your own food in a backyard-sized space, and it'll only take you about less than an hour a day. And most people, when you say growing your own food, the first thing they're thinking is, oh, gardens. And, gardens are a component of it because you do want fresh vegetables. But really where you're going to generate a lot of calories and a lot of really great nutrition is going to be in rabbits or quail or chickens or fish. We have lots of different ways that we can do it, aquaponics or just having rabbit hutches or just a little free-range flock in your backyard. Now, even if you don't, and you can do it totally in a backyard. In fact, there are families that have a whole CSA, a whole farm in their backyard where they're selling the vegetables. They're producing so much they're actually selling it to restaurants. So, it's amazing what you can do once you get started. The rabbit hutch I have, 20 feet long, 2.5 feet wide, and it produces about 80 rabbits a year. And that is about half of the protein requirements for my family of 4. That's a lot of really good meat. And anything you can do with chicken, you can do with rabbit. It's almost the same type of meat. In fact, my husband makes these delicious enchiladas, and we often serve them to guests and forget to tell them that it's rabbit meat, and they always just assume it's chicken, So, the other thing about it, Vince, the systems that I'm talking about, like you get rabbits and chickens and just a couple of little vegetable gardens, they don't need any refrigeration. You can go out and take a rabbit and process a rabbit in the backyard and have it in the pot in about 20 minutes. That feeds a family of 4. If you can stretch it and feed a family of 8 from one, just like a chicken, right? Put some rice with it or potatoes or different things, right?
Right.
And it's gone, right? And then you take whatever's left over and you take those bones and you put it on the back of the stove and let it simmer overnight, and the next day you make a soup out of it. That thing never has to ever be refrigerated.
Marjorie, some of our class might be saying, yeah, but it's against zoning where I live to dig up the backyard or dig up the front yard. And here's my response to that. If that happens to you, you can certainly call me. My phone number is on the website, usaprepares.com, or you can send me an email. You can send me some pictures, and we will jump right on it. And we will give credit to that municipality, that city, that individual. If you have their phone number, their business card, when they harass you, we will make them famous. And every time that we've done that, Marjorie, they have backed down. I'm talking, the city of Orlando, Florida, was beating up this family for growing a garden, growing food in their suburban yard, and they were fining them $500 a day. And I called the investigator, and I gave out her number and her name on the air. By the afternoon of that day, they gave up. They said, we're changing the ordinance. We stopped the fine. It's all going to go away. And that's the city of Orlando. So if we can do that in Orlando, we can do that in your neighborhood. So all you have to do is call your local TV station, call your local radio stations, say you're being harassed for growing food, trying to live, trying to produce food for your own family. Ring the alarm, and they'll probably cover that story, and the city or the municipality will probably back down. And we at usaprepares.com will come to your rescue for sure. So
wow.
I just wanted to share that.
I'll let people know about that. But there are so many cities now that they have reversed ordinances. Quite frankly, a lot of this, it's not going to, if you've got it in your backyard and you've got rabbits, or if you're worried about the noise of chickens, just get a little flock of ducks. They produce about the same, actually higher quality eggs, and they're quiet. People, they aren't going to know, or a lot of times the ordinance are just against, chickens, and they forget all about things like rabbits or ducks or other livestock. So, and a couple of garden beds. There's no reason they can't be done beautifully or deliciously in ways that people don't realize what's even going on. So,
and what about the Victory Gardens, that style gardening that was done during World War II? The government encouraged. The government encouraged us to grow our own groceries on balconies, in buckets, in cities, Brooklyn, New York, everywhere across the country. Grow your own groceries. It was something that they were trying to do to offload the burden on the farmers during
the war.
World War II.
Yeah. And what was amazing, and I've read this statistic more than a few times, is that 20 million new gardeners, this is, the 1940s, these people had never gardened before, 20 million of them got going, and in the first year, they produced 40% of America's produce that got consumed. So 40% of the fruits and vegetables that America ate was done within the first year by this 20 million people who were brand new gardeners. So, and that system was heavily emphasizing gardens and produce, and that's you definitely want to have that. I was in north of Santa Fe is the Permaculture Institute, and these people have a fruit forest, which is a bunch of trees that are fruits and nuts and things like that, and then they have some livestock, some goats and chickens, and two systems for growing food, two different ways to do it. And I said, wow, that's really neat, because those are probably some of the easiest ways, right? Once you get a fruit tree established, there's not that much work to it, right? But it produces a ton of food. Right. It's a great way to go. And I was there the summer after they'd had a freak winter where it'd gotten 30 below zero, and all their fruit trees lived, and their nut trees lived, and their livestock, of course, lived, but the fruit and nut trees were not producing that year. And I was talking to the Scott and Arena Pittman, are the Permaculture Institute owners there, and then they said, we really learned the value of an annual garden. You have a little bit of a garden every now and then, right? But the key is diversity. Right. Have a lot of different systems. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right, because we have, on our farm, we had 2 fig trees, and they were absolutely magnificent. And because of the geoengineering that our government is working on and destroying our lives, and those of us who are farmers are really seeing the benefits of their efforts. I say that facetiously. We lost those 2 fig trees because of the rapid change in temperature. The fig trees just couldn't stand it. And you're absolutely right. You do need to have diversity, because we are under attack. The government has declared war. These are my words. The government has declared war on we the people through geoengineering. I'm very serious about that. And Marjory, are you seeing chemtrails above your farm in Texas?
Well, we see a lot of stuff. And the other day we had this. It looked like a spiderweb type material coming out of the sky that would dissipate within a very short period of time. It was not a natural thing. I mean, it was very clear. It was not. It was almost like a big billowing gossamer waves of this stuff. And we had seen it one other time out here before. And we tried to get a sample of it so we could send it into a lab or something. But like I said, it dissipated, and it was so fragile. We were like, what in the heck is this stuff? It was all over the place.
We have everywhere. Seen it. We have seen that too, and it will cover miles and miles and miles. It's not like just one spider web coming down. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
For miles and miles and miles. Are you finding that when someone tries gardening for the first time, what is their typical success rate?
Well, because most of us don't have very good soils, I'd say people usually are not very successful the first time out. And the secret to really having a really big, beautiful, abundant vegetables growing out your ears is to have really deep, nutritious, fertile soil that's alive, has a lot of minerals in it. And that's what you got to work on.
Yeah, and it's not everywhere. So composting and animal manure is what you're talking about to supplement your soils, right? Yeah. Marjory Wildcraft's with us, and we're going to talk about her DVD. If you want to see how to do it, it's on her DVD. We'll talk about how to get it when we come right back. You know, class, during the break, you heard a commercial from Freeze Dry Guy. And as you know, the Freeze Dry Guy is a friend of the family here. And when I look in our children's trunks of their cars and trucks, they carry around buckets of Freeze Dry Guy food, like a bucket in each car, just in case. So you might want to consider that. And currently there's a sale, rice, meat, and potato sale. 866-404-3663. 866-404-3663. And Marjory Wildcraft is talking about growing your own groceries. Marjory, I've seen your DVD set. It's absolutely fabulous, really. It's so good I share it with friends and family. Tell us about it and how do we get it?
Well, if you want to become free of supermarkets and drugstores, this is the ticket. It's like me taking you by the hand and showing you, here's rainwater systems, here's the most efficient gardening method, here's the easiest food sources to grow, here's the fastest food sources to grow, and it's exactly me, what I do every day to provide my own food. And it's 2 DVDs. We couldn't fit it all on one, and there's a whole bunch of bonus things, a whole bunch of bonus books that we give with you, like how to build that rainwater collection system, how to tan a rabbit hide, a whole book on seed saving, catfish ponds. Most people have, if you got a space and you got a quarter acre or an acre of a pond, you stock that thing with fish, and you got food right there, right? So right. The video set is really designed to liberate you and to get you free. Of everything we do is from a perspective of sustainability, which is also the same as being able to do it even if everything collapses and the grid goes down. You'll be able to eat and eat well. This is organic, deeply nutritious, healthy food. No GMOs, no pesticides, no toxins, nothing like that. Just really good food with animals that are healthy and that are raised humanely. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And you can go to growyourowngroceries.com, or if you're driving and you can't take notes, you can go to usaprepares.com, page 1 at the bottom of the page where the instructors are listed. You can click on Marjory Wildcraft there and it'll take you right to her page and you can order it. Marjory, you talked about fish. We have some ponds on the farm, and I want to talk about just for a second what it costs to raise fish. You can buy 100 6 to 8 inch long catfish, and you can stock your pond with them. And when I do that, it costs $32. $32 for 100 catfish. Now, I did that years ago. Those catfish are 18, maybe even 24 inches long. They're huge.
Yep.
And so where can you buy, let's say, an 18-inch long catfish? Several pounds.
Yeah.
For 32 cents. Where can you do that? You can't. So you can grow your own.
Yeah, they've just been eating the insects and the bugs and the other little fish, and you didn't have to put anything into them.
Well, really... I did have to put a scope on a couple turtles, and the reason is those darn turtles like the catfish.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah. So I don't like doing that, but it was protecting the catfish, so there are fewer turtles in the pond.
Well, did you have turtle soup?
No. What happens when those turtles expire? They sink to the bottom of the pond.
Oh,
and so
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the catfish.
Yeah, I don't. I really, yeah, that's exactly right. The catfish have turtle soup, but yes, you can do it. Yes, you can start on your balcony in your city property or your apartment or your trailer or your mobile home or your suburban home. Yes, you can, and we encourage that you do it. Marjory does it. we do it, and a whole bunch of our USAPrepares.com family. We all do it. We're trying to become more and more self-sufficient. We're growing our own groceries because we believe that the time is coming in our lives when we're going to need these skills. So why don't you get started right now? GrowYourOwnGroceries.com. Marjory Wildcraft, thanks so much for being with us today, sharing with us
having me on,
the information.
Vince. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. And you don't have to eat bugs, right, Marjory?
No,
You can eat
no.
other things.
That's I'm into eggs and chickens and rabbits and vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vince,
Thanks so much. Everyone all set? Cocked, locked, hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. For those of you new to the class, there are about 200 of us here at USAPrepares.com, experts in various areas. All of us are innovators. We're medical doctors, dentists, engineers, surgeons, CEOs, broadcasters, researchers, physicists, farmers, inventors. And we're students rising to become instructors. Today, I'm delighted to introduce your newest instructor. His name is Pete Fettig, and Pete is an entrepreneur. Now, he used to have a job, as many of us used to here at USAPrepares.com, but it's hard for us to hold down a job. I'm speaking of me specifically and, well, everyone else. And the reason is we just don't take direction very well. The reason we don't take direction very well is we actually believe we could do a better job than we were directed to do when we had jobs. We wanted to go above and beyond. We wanted to work harder, smarter, faster, do more. And a lot of us have paid the price for having those attitudes and desires and goals and attributes. So Pete's with us, and we're going to talk about how he doesn't have a job. He has his own business. He's an entrepreneur. And he went from $0 to $10,000 a month in just a little over a year. Welcome, Pete Fettig.
Good morning, Vincent. How are you today?
I'm doing just great. I love, Pete, I love what I do. I'm a farmer, and I'm a gold bug. I'm a silver bug. I get a chance to be behind the microphone for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. I wake up with a grin on my face. I start the broadcast with a chuckle because I'm just delighted to do what I do. And it's not work. It's not always easy, but I don't consider what I do work because I love doing it. Pete, I think of it like I'm on vacation all the time, doing exactly what I want to do. And is that what you do?
You can pretty much say that, yes. Yeah, I have been gainfully unemployed for about 15 years now, and I've been very blessed to be that way. I've seen my kids grow up. I've been able to appreciate my wife and my marriage totally, and here I am today and able to share that with you.
Well, let me see if I've got this right. So to be on this broadcast classroom with us, you didn't have to check with the boss and say, listen, I've been invited to be on a radio show, a national broadcast syndicated all over the country. Would that be okay if I, took like a couple hours off? You didn't have to do that, did you?
Didn't have to do that, except I just had to clear it with my boss, who's my wife.
It's funny you say that because when you are an entrepreneur and you work out of your home, it's really a partnership with your spouse. It really is, and it's delightful. I got to tell you, many years ago, I had a computer manufacturing business, and Mrs. Finelli was there side by side with me, and people would come in there and they go, "How can you guys stand it? How can you work with each other? Like, what's wrong with you guys?" And And these are the same kinds of people who would take vacations separate from their spouses to get away from their spouses. I think they've got it backwards. I really do. So I think what you're doing is one of the highest and best things a person can do. Spend time with the family, not be controlled by the job, not having deadlines that are assigned by other people, stresses that you cannot control because those stresses are, hey, Pete, we need you to do this project. We need it by 2 days from now. We know it takes a week to do it if you're a superhero, but we got to have it 2 days. So how about it? And then you kill yourself trying to do that, and tempers are short. I mean, all of us who have had jobs in the corporate world have experienced this. Having priorities, so many first priorities that you don't know which first priority is first, and you get beat up for whichever ones you don't accomplish on time. So you've jumped off the corporate ladder, right?
Absolutely. I guess you could say I reached my Peter principle.
And you fired the company.
That's right. That's the absolute best way to look at it.
Okay, so you fired your employer, and I've done that too, and I haven't looked back. But let me share this with you, and then please comment on this. When I was about done with my formal education, my dad was a school principal, an acting superintendent, a teacher, and he advised me, and this is back in the 70s, to find a really good company like General Electric, Bell Laboratories, one of those kinds of companies. Get in with that company, and I'd have a job for 40 years. And I'd say, Dad, are you kidding? Those guys are laying off people 10,000 a week. There is no security anymore. The only way that a person can have security, in my opinion, is to make his or her own security, and not depend on some boss or some corporation that can lay you off because somebody has a bad swing at the highest levels of a corporation on the golf course and says, that's it. We're gonna get rid of that division. I've had it with them because they've had a bad swing on the golf course. Is that true or not true?
I would say that's true. Growing up, both my parents were from that old school. My dad worked at the VA hospital in town for 39 years. My mom worked at the hospital that was in town for about 38 years. So they were from that old school that you had to have an education if you hoped to succeed at all, and you had to go to work for the same company for 40 years in order to secure your life. And that all changed by the time I was graduating from college. That had all changed, and nowadays, if you're in the corporate world, to work for the same company for 5 years seems to be a record. So,
well, I look at corporations today, and I look at the employees, and I look at the employees as mercenaries, and I don't harbor negative thoughts about the employees being mercenaries, because I believe the corporations who employ those mercenaries have turned employees into mercenaries, because employers, the corporations of America, will lay people off almost at a whim in order to drive up the share price. It's not about products anymore. It's about share price, because the corporate executives, the highest level, tend to have compensation based on share price. They get these huge bonuses, and that's where they make these $8, $10, $20, $80 million per year and more running these corporations. So they're really not interested in great products. They're really not interested in protecting consumers. They're really not interested in safety of the consumer with their products. They're really interested in share price. They're willing to pay fines and risk fines, and they're willing to engage in legal battles rather than create good ignition switches for cars that don't leave people in the middle of an intersection without an engine being able to start because the ignition switch is bad. So corporate America has left us, we the employees, and turned us into mercenaries. And I think we are at odds, those of us who have jobs, with the people who run these corporations, and we're sick of it. So do you agree with that, or is that just my opinion?
No, I see the same things, and you know, you look at charts of what's going on with personal satisfaction with work and all manner of measures that they have these days, and people are, it's like I just, you can kind of picture it almost straight out of a Hollywood movie. It's like a zombification of personality. You know, there are so many on top of the desire for you to produce. There's also this mandate that you have to, you know, walk a certain way, talk a certain way. You can't say this, you can't say that. You must behave this way, and if you don't, you're going to be sued and fired. And I mean, the political correctness and the workaholic environment is what's killing people. You can't.
Well, I can tell you that you're absolutely right, and I'll give an example. There was an explosion at a power generation station in Washington County, Illinois, on Tuesday of this. We reported it on Tuesday of this week. It was over the Memorial Day weekend. And somehow, you know, we have information. I'm not going to reveal my sources, but I posted this. We were the first to break this story. And I got called by a politician in Ohio because he's part of a consortium that buys power from this power generation company. Well, I believe that there's been an order by top management for those who work at this power generation plant to keep under wraps what happened. I believe that there has been an order to not talk to anyone. Don't share any pictures. Can't bring your cell phones onto the campus. You'll lose your job. Those are the kinds of threats that I believe are evident in today's business environment. Either if you say something that's politically incorrect, you can get fired. What a lousy way to earn a living under those threats. We'll be right back. Pete Fettig, he'll tell you how when we come back. Class, we got a meetup on Monday. Marjory Wildcraft will be with us. She's going to be doing a teleseminar at Ziggy's. So she will be live via teleseminar at Ziggy's. I will be hosting it, Ziggy's Restaurant, Sunshine and Glenstone, Springfield, Missouri. We're going to be talking about gardening, how to do it, what you need to do, and why. That's Monday, 5:30 to about 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, maybe 10, maybe 11, at Ziggy's Restaurant, Sunshine and Glenstone, Springfield, Missouri. It's absolutely free. If you want to have dinner with us, you certainly may. Information is on the website. Pete Fettig is with us. And Pete, so you had a job, you no longer have a job, you're earning, within a year, you're earning about $10,000 a month, which is a great salary, or great compensation, I should say. And you have all the benefits that are available to the richest in this country. You can deduct that room in your home, that's your office. You can deduct over 50 cents a mile per the IRS for business use of your vehicle. If you go out to eat, you can deduct 50% of those meals if they're related to the business, or if it's educationally related to your business, 100% of those meal expenses. You can furnish your office at your home, and those items that you buy, the lamps, the rugs, all those things, the computers, are deductible from your income. You can be an entrepreneur, and you've done it, right? Am I speaking correctly or not?
You are 100% correct. Absolutely 100% correct.
Okay.
And, you know, it allows you to be much more creative. with what you're doing, because you're the one that's making the decisions on how you spend your money. And if you're doing it as a company, for instance, you are afforded even more options. So that's
okay. And
that's
let me share.
Point you make.
Let me share this with the class, and we're going to tell you what this little business is, if you'd like, in just a couple minutes. But you do not need a lawyer to form your own business. You don't. You don't even need to ask anybody for permission. You can start your business right now. Right during this broadcast, you can start your business. And if you want to register your business with the Secretary of State, as I have in Missouri, I just went to the website, I picked a name. It just happened to be USA Prepares, .com, space LC, usaprepares.com, limited corporation. I formed a limited corporation which protects me. So if I get sued for something I say, I am exposed for whatever happens to be in the corporation. There's nothing there, so I can be sued and nobody will get anything because the company is just me sitting behind the microphone. So there really isn't anything there. So you can be protected by forming a corporation. What does it cost? About $50 a year to do that. You don't even have to do that if you don't want to. You can just be a sole proprietorship. It doesn't cost anything. If you want to protect the name, you'll have to register that with the Secretary of State. But if you're not interested in protecting the name, it doesn't cost anything. Now, you may have to get a business license, or you can do what a lot of people do and just not do that, and then just ask for forgiveness should you get caught. We recommend that you report your income, but we recommend you take every possible deduction that you can. And how do you know how to do that? Well, you download publication number 17, publication 17. It's the abbreviated rule book by the IRS. And if you read that, you can read it in about an hour. You will be, I guarantee this, if you have an IQ over 90, you will be grinning from ear to ear thinking about the deductions that you can take. And I can also guarantee that all of you are way over an IQ of 90. As a matter of fact, I've done a little bit of research about this broadcast, and we have a great preponderance of our class members who are very well educated. Really, more than other broadcasts. So I would stack this class against any broadcast in the nation. I think you're brighter. I really do. So, Pete, let's build this business. What do we need?
The first thing you need is a good attitude, and a winning attitude. Not an attitude of, gee, I'll try this and I wonder if it'll work, but one of confidence that you know it's going to work, and it will.
There you go.
The business we're about to discuss, it's almost impossible to fail. The only way to fail is if you fail to go to work. If you go to work,
all right,
you're going to succeed.
All right, here we go. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, and we'll devote the rest of the time to how to do it. Class, I can't stand it. In Georgia, a SWAT team invaded a home in the middle of the night. Everyone was sleeping. This was a multi-jurisdictional task force drug raid, allegedly. The jackbooted cops threw a grenade into a crib where a toddler was sleeping. It blew up in his face. This toddler, I believe, is on life support. He's in a coma. Okay? The cops were not arrested. Now, let me contrast that. A pickup truck driver changed lanes, allegedly on purpose, and hit a Florida state trooper. Okay? That guy was arrested, is in jail, is being charged with murder. Now, what I want to know is why that SWAT team, every single member, including the judge who signed the warrant, why those guys aren't charged with attempted murder by throwing this flashbang stun grenade into the crib of a toddler in a home where the toddler was sleeping. These cops are absolutely out of control. They need to be arrested, put in jail, and kept there until trial. I'm outraged. Pete, I'm sorry. Let's talk about starting this business, because that's what we need to do. We need to have our own business. We need to be insulated economically from the system? How do we do it?
Let's start with why you would want to do that.
Okay.
You see what's going on in this nation, and you see all the regulation that's going on, and your freedoms are being taken away while corruption is being legalized. Being able to work for yourself allows us to bypass so much of that. We have big problems in this nation, and for that matter in the world, with the burgeoning police state. And what we have to offer with this business I want to tell you about is a way to build up something that's yours, something that can't be interrupted by the police state, and that will grow into the future, that you can leave as a legacy for your children. And it's a way to get us back onto an honest money standard, which is far and away the best way to put a dagger in the police state, in the welfare state, in the corruption state. When you take away the ability to print money and basically create control over everybody's lives, that's when you start making a difference, whether it's one person at a time or the masses at a time. So we have a business model that allows us to do that. Right now, you are controlled by a piece of paper called fiat money. You can't do anything when somebody else issues it to you and tells you how you can use it and what you can do with your life, because we're all controlled by that piece of paper. So being able to get back onto honest money is how we change that system. And I'm working with a company called Carrot Bars that allows us to do exactly that. Carrot Bars is a debt-free German company. It's open in 119 countries and counting, and it's an e-commerce company with an affiliate marketing plan. It's privately owned. It's regulated by strict German law. German law, by the way, is probably the toughest and strictest laws in the EU. And what they do, they package gold in affordable weights. In industry lingo, that's 4-9 pure, 24-karat, currency-grade gold bullion in a traveling vault. And so what we're doing as affiliates, we're showing others how to open free gold saving accounts. And our job is to expand the company, which is to provide more places a person can set up and save gold. Carrot Bars, the company itself is recommended by Bundesbarer, which is a German consumer watchdog agency, as a place to get gold from. Carrot Bars is also contracted with a third-party vaulting company called Prosegur, which is the third largest vaulting company in the world and a prestigious member of the World Gold Council. And that allows affiliates and customers to save their gold for free in storage if they want, or take it and have it delivered at any time that they want. So it's a very unique business model. So why Carrot Bars? Well, as I said, fiat currency, which is a piece of paper, controls you, and it allows the elitists to expand government surveillance, regulation, control, and expansion of the welfare state. And no fiat currency, as I heard in one of the commercials earlier, no fiat currency has ever survived. All have gone to zero value. And when you think about it, we price gold in terms of the paper. We say gold by the ounce is worth so many dollars. And in reality, what we should be doing is saying that paper money is worth so much in gold, because it's bass backwards, if you will. Pardon my English, but it's reverse of what it should be. The paper has no value, and when people start to wake up, most of the folks that are listening probably already get this, so I'm preaching to the choir. But paper has no value. It's not backed by anything. It's literally your faith that you're going to be able to trade it for value. That's the only thing that's propping it up right now. Even a gentleman, I want to say his name is Jürgen Stark, who was formerly with some kind of regulator with the EU, just in the last week came out and said that our economy is literally a figment of our imagination. It's printed money. It's just money printed out of thin air, not worth the paper that's printed on.
My dad used to say that our monetary system is backed by the full faith and credit of the government. And what he needed to do was put a comma in there and say, because of its ability to tax we the people into oblivion. I mean, that's really what it is. And the proof of our monetary system, or money being a concept today, backed by literally only the ability to steal from we the people at gunpoint, literally gunpoint. Just try not paying your taxes, you'll go to jail. The proof is, class, go to any one of your banks that you currently have an account with, and when you go to the counter, say, "Can you help me? What is money?" They won't be able to answer that question. They can't. They have no idea what it is, and they're in the banking business. And call me and correct me if you think I'm wrong, seriously. Or if you find out that your banker knows what money is, because they don't. I've made it a little kind of a sub-hobby to ask bankers what money is, and no one has been able to tell me yet. Now, I'm only 61, but never has anyone been able to tell me at a bank what money is. So you're absolutely right. So how do we get involved in this business? What do we do? What do we buy? How much does it cost?
Well, Carrot Bars this affiliate plan has a way for you to get involved. You can actually get involved for free if you want, and that plan allows you to not even buy gold if you didn't want to, not even buy the product of the company, which is very highly unusual. And this actually allows it to be open in 119 different jurisdictions. But you can get involved for free, and that allows you to enroll others to open their own gold saving accounts for free if they want. And it's predicated on any time that those people buy gold, you earn a commission. And you're not selling the gold. Carrot Bars is selling the gold. You're showing people how to open an account. That free plan pays once per month, and you can enroll as many people as you like, and they can enroll as many people as they like. And eventually, over the course of time, that will allow you to build up an income. In fact, it would be enough to build up an income that you probably could afford to purchase your gold out of commissions and effectively get perpetually free gold, which is better than any discount by any dealer out there. You also have...
Well, I can tell you this.
Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
After you. All right. I can tell you this. The current price of gold is $1255.9 per ounce for 1 ounce of gold. That's up to the second price for gold. And I went to Carrot Bars and I looked at the price of gold in very, very small denominations, like a gram, 1/31st of an ounce of gold. So if you take an ounce of gold and divide it into 31 pieces, you can buy that at Carrot Bars for about $60-something. That's about 50% higher than if you bought an ounce of gold. But the problem is when you buy anything in small quantities, you always pay a higher price. So I am a gold bug, and I'd like to say I signed up for free at Carrot Bars. And if you're interested, you can do the same thing. Go to usaprepares.com, page 1, top post. There's a link there, a little bit about Carrot Bars, and you can sign up for free also if you want to. I have. Now, I want to make sure that everyone understands that I believe that if you don't physically have it in your hand, You don't own it. So Max's Law, which we've talked about on this class, has three components. Buy the best, pay cash, take delivery. So if you don't take delivery, I submit to you, you don't own it. So if you are going to buy gold, if you are going to buy silver, and I suggest that you do, and if you decide to buy it in very small quantities, that you can, I'm talking about dividing an ounce of gold into 31 pieces. If you want to buy it that small, you can buy it through carat bars if you want. And you'll pay about a 50% premium over the price you would pay per ounce for 1 ounce of gold. But whenever you buy something small, you usually pay more per unit than you do if you buy it in a larger quantity. So keep that in mind. I am a gold bug, and I have signed up. USAprepares.com, page 1 if you want to see it. We'll be right back. So class, let me give you a summary. You can sign up for free. You can sign up others and get a commission on gold that they buy, or the gold that others that they sign up buy. Okay? And you can buy gold in small quantities from carat bars, K-A-R-A-T bars. And the way you do it is just go to usaprepares.com. There's a link on page 1, and you can read about it, and it'll teach you about it. Now, this is going to be promoted by Genesis Communications Network. So you are hearing about this early. And if you want to get in early, and that's the time to do it, you can email me, and we'll have somebody call you back and help you learn more about it. Now, I learned about this from Erin Dakins. She has a broadcast. I was on her show last night, 10 to midnight Central Time, right here on GCN. And her broadcast is called The Truth Traveler. So she told me about carat bars, and I'm passing the word on to you. But I want to make sure that I say this very clearly. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. But if you can spend the time, and you have an interest in building a business, your own business, you might just be able to become financially independent. Seriously, I think you can do it if you're willing to spend the time. But don't think that you can just sign up and the money's going to start flowing. I don't want you to think that at all. Pete, did I summarize that accurately?
A little bit.
Did we lose Pete?
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes, I can. Did I summarize that accurately? Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did, and you did absolutely summarize that clearly. And what I'd like to do is just expand upon that just a little bit.
Okay, we've got about 3 minutes, so we're going to have to hurry.
Sure. There is a free plan, and there's also an optional plan that you can participate in called an income acceleration plan, which gets you into what's called a dual team system. That dual team system, you buy a package, and the type of package that you buy allows you to earn stepped-up commissions on the purchases that people make. And with that plan, you get paid weekly versus one time per month in what's called the unilevel plan that we described for free before. And with that, your first goal should be to work hard enough to get yourself qualified to be earning perpetually free gold. After that, it's almost a cakewalk after that. You find some folks that go to work, and you keep working at it. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint. You don't just get to a finish line and then quit. And you don't work for 3 weeks, and if you don't see anything, quit. This does require work, but it is very lucrative. And I'm sure people are going to have lots of questions, and I'd be more than happy to answer those offline regarding pricing, competition, all manner of things that you might have. We have many tools for people to use to build with, and I'd be more than happy to share those things offline. And so please go to Vincent's link on the website, and you'll find the first place to go and sign up, and consider any questions that you have, get a package, get started, and start rocking with it. It's fun. This business is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can start your own meetups. If you have a meetup, you can share this with those in your meetup, and you can grow your meetup. And also, imagine this: imagine if you have a meetup and you're sharing information about this particular business, Carrot Bars. Then your meal, because it's an educational event, is totally tax deductible, and so is the drive to and from the meetup, or wherever you happen to go to share this information. It's pretty cool. It's a way that you can work within the system and use the benefits of the system to your own financial advantage. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. Pete Fettig, thanks so much for being with us. I'd like to have you back again and again, and let's share more details about Carrot Bars. If you're interested, class, usaprepares.com, page 1. Meet up on Monday. I'll see you there. Marjory Wildcraft will be with us. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.